Now, what if your next big cash prize wasn't won by luck, but by beating everyone else to the finish line? Well, this week on the RG10 podcast, the first episode in Series 18, no less, you're going to be hearing from the team behind Quest Comps. It's a new Twyford-based venture that's blending adventure, strategy and competition into a unique new format. Their first challenge, Race to London, will see contestants navigating clues, tackling puzzles and racing across the capital's transport network, with £1,000 awaiting the winner. As you'll hear, they've got plans for nationwide quests, global competitions and even a race around the world. So here are Paul Williams and Jaime Cox, the brains behind the operation, to explain why they think the future of competitions is all about participation and not chance. Paul, if I could start with you, if you would, could you tell me what is Quest Comps? How did you come up with the idea?
So we're basically a competition site and a competition company that we do actual active competitions. So it's ones you take part in and you win a prize, cash prize. And the idea came from things like, so Rev Comps is a really good one. I'm not trying to promote them, but that you buy a ticket in a raffle, there's a chance of one in, say, 10,000 and winning a car or a motorbike or anything like that. And I was very lucky to win 2 cars over the last 2 years. And I started thinking about that space and then watching programs like Race Around the World, even the Traitors, things like that. You look at TV these days and you kind of think, well, your chances of getting on one of these shows is probably less than 0.2%, right? And I thought, let's come up with a concept where you could pay an entry fee. And you've got a much, much, much lower odds situation of potentially winning a really decent cash prize. And it was that formulated with social media, watching people kind of doing things there, and like everything you've got on YouTube these days, things are going that way. And it came up with the idea of kind of actually let's have regular people be able to enter anything they want to enter, and really coming up with competitions to base around that idea.
And what's the situation you got? What's the competition that you got at the moment? It's called Race to London, isn't it? Tell me about that.
Yeah. So it's basically our first one, right? So this is I suppose a demo, kind of like everyone who's taking part is going to be testing our systems, testing our GPS, making sure that no one's cheating, making sure everyone kind of gets clues. And the idea is they'll race from Berkshire over to somewhere in central London, but they won't have a direct route and they won't know exactly where they're going until the day. So they'll have to kind of use public transport. That's all they can use. They're going to be getting off trains, buses at certain points, trying to solve a clue. When they get there, they'll send a photo. We'll then confirm, yep, you're correct. And here's the next clue. They'll then move on to the next one. And there'll probably be 4 of those, I think, something like that on the route. And whoever gets there fastest will basically win. So it's a trial. It's a light one. We're going to be doing things a hell of a lot bigger and bolder than the one we're doing to start with. But for us, it's a way of getting feedback from actual real people taking part in an event and taking part in a quest.
And is this on a specific day? If not, when will you know if you've won or not?
So it's going to be on June 13th, which is a Saturday, and you will know at the end of that day whether you've won or not. So, yeah.
Now, you kind of hinted there at other competitions you hope to be doing. I've had a look on your website. It's, a pretty big hitting stuff. Give me an idea of those.
Yeah, so we're going to do things like, so if I take the UK just to start with, so we're going to do a race from Land's End to John O'Groats. Again, it's going to be only using public transport. You know where you're starting from, you know where you're going to finish, but you will not know the route. So the idea will be, again, there'll be 5 different clues and you'll have to get to each one before you get the next clue. And again, it's problem solving along the route and doing a route where it's, kind of everyone's racing against kind of the clock, so to speak, but also you're racing against your own intelligence. But it gives everyone a chance. And what we're trying to do is make it completely inclusive. So it's like by using public transport, this isn't like a race where, you're walking, running, cycling. You're not doing any of that. So it doesn't matter what your fitness levels are. It doesn't matter your age. Everyone can take part in this and have a complete shot at winning. And then the idea is also we're going to go global. We're going to do this in Europe. We're going to do it in America, Australia, you name it. That's where that's the ultimate goal, is to get this going on a global level. And we'd want to try and get some YouTube influencers around as well, so people like travel bloggers, people that do all the flight stuff. It'd be brilliant to get these guys involved. And, our ultimate one's going to be a race around the world. And that'd be the quickest you can do it, different flights. And we got some guys that are kind of already said, yeah, we'd love to get involved in that, get that done on our channel. So yeah, it's looking really good, I think, for the future.
Now, Jaime, Paul there kind of hinted at the marketing side of things, if you like, and that's, I guess, where you come in. But when he first came to you with this idea, if that's what happened, what was your reaction?
I was grabbed straight away because there's nothing like it. First of all, second of all, there's I feel like there's a real appetite for people to get away from screens and out of the house and outdoors. We've gone from lockdown to like disaster after disaster, and it's kind of sent everybody online. And the idea of getting
like us today, do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, it has its uses, but to try and get people actually outside. So my boys love doing escape rooms, so that kind of got me thinking as well. It's got that kind of element to it, and I think there's just a real, it's just something there's no one else is doing. So it's something else that you can do with your weekend. It's challenging and it's unique, and you can document it if you want. It's content for online. We really want to get charities involved going forwards once it's established, because it's a great opportunity. There's a lot of donation fatigue, I suppose, fundraising fatigue. It's kind of the same old things. People can feel this a bit more inspired and go out and do these things, get sponsored, and then if they win the prize money for the charity as well, amazing.
Yeah,
So
I think I've known you, Jaime, for crikey,
very
25 odd years. Goodness, probably maybe even longer than that. And I don't think you've been in marketing, this kind of thing, for the whole time. Is this kind of, a pretty straightforward thing to get people interested in? How have you found it?
I think so. I mean, it's really hard. We're so early on in the process.
Yeah.
Because this is just like a test run that we're trying to get going at the moment. We haven't gone big with anything. It's just been about getting all the systems set up, the website, all the emails. It's really boring back end stuff. The actual real big push for marketing will be further down the line, once we know that it works and we've kind of got proof of concept and it's all shiny and new, and then we can go big with it.
So when it comes to moments, if you like, what kind of thing are you hoping people will experience? What kind of feedback are you hoping for?
Well, I mean, I guess it's the experience, right? So it's like what we're trying to achieve here is something that is, it gives people an opportunity to win a prize that they've got their own destiny on, right? So it's not luck. This isn't just luck. It's not about like drawing a ticket out and going, congratulations, you've got the winning number. So what we're trying to do is kind of say, well, actually use your skill. You've got a bit of skill involved. Everyone has got a chance of winning the main prize. And it was that really. It was like kind of, well, there's nothing going on like that. You look at something like a maze, you can win £1 million house, but what do? Nothing other than buy a ticket. You spend £20, you buy a ticket. You've got a 1 in, I don't know what their odds are. Probably 1 in a million, if higher than that of winning. Whereas this is much, much lower odds. So it's about kind of doing that, but it equally says, the charity angle as well we've got, which will kind of really come through in the future, is that some of these quests are going to be difficult. We're going to have lots of different angles, and it will give people a chance to raise money for their favourite charities, get sponsorship, and kind of, like push from there. So even if they don't win, if they complete it, they're still going to make a lot of money for their chosen charity. So that I think is a really nice thing to be able to offer and people to do, right? Because it's like, and we may go that way in the future. We may have some events that we do, like a cycle ride from, the length of the country or somewhere, and predominantly target that marketplace. But equally, we're looking at kind of to start with, really, we're just trying to make it something that anyone and everyone can take part in.
Have you ever done anything like this? Not this business particularly, but have you ever taken part in anything along these lines? Is that what inspired you, or was it just watching it?
No, I haven't. Right. So no, honestly, I say the only thing I've ever done is, I said before, I've taken part in raffle comps, so it's like, and I've won a couple of cars, and it's like, that was luck. It was pure luck. And it's like, well, okay, hang on a minute. How can you make this to a point where people have got more chance, or it's not just fate? It's, and it was that, really. That was what inspired me. But, and I said, equally, it's like there's a market for people that want to take part in things, want to do things, want to explore more, but have a decent chance and a decent shot of getting the main prize.
Finally then, Jamie, imagine using your media, your marketing, your newspaper experience hat. It's June the 14th, the day after the competition. What do you hope that headline will be?
First Quest Comps Quizzer Quids in.
Oh, beautiful.
I like that. That's a good one.
It's alliteration. It's wonderful. Always a winner. Jamie and Paul, thank you so much, and best of luck on June the 13th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Paul Williams, MD of Quest Comps, and Jamie Cox, the CMO. And the race to London takes place on Saturday, the 13th of June. It costs £20 per team, and you may end the day very, very rich indeed. We're going to be back in a couple of weeks' time, where I will be taking another random stroll around the RG10 area, see if you can guess where this one is. And I'll also be reflecting on the end of a much beloved Twyford institution. See you then.